What's going on, y'all? So I have a very important topic for y'all today. I had a consultation call with someone yesterday, and the first half of their call was very specific to Shopify questions, and then the second half had to do with mindset questions. And he asked me a very, very important, a great question that applies to pretty much every entrepreneur, but specifically young entrepreneurs. So he asked me, how do I deal with essentially feeling bogged down? He says that he has these days where he feels like literally from every direction, everything's going wrong. And he feels like he's almost shut down as an entrepreneur. How do you get through these feelings of feeling bogged down and still be productive? And this was an absolute great question. So first off, every entrepreneur goes through this, and it doesn't matter whether you're a young or old entrepreneur, whether you've been in the game for 2 days, whether you've been in the game for 20 years. You're gonna have these days where you feel bogged down, these days where you feel like everything is going wrong. You know, the thing is, I had these days within the first few weeks of me starting drop shipping, and I still have these type of days with my current drop shipping stores, what I'm doing with the brick and mortar, and even my personal brand, where everything just seems like it's going wrong on the same day. Just know that every entrepreneur goes through this. So first off, you need to go ahead and think positive thoughts. As corny as that sounds, you need to think positive thoughts, and you need to find solutions to the most immediate problems. So go ahead and whatever is most pressing, you need to find solutions to these problems. So essentially what will happen is, what was once a major problem, the more and more you go through it. Essentially it's, you know, repetition. So the more you go through these hard days and have these problems, what were once mountains in your path are now pebbles in your path. So what were once really big problems to you, now will be absolutely nothing to you. And essentially it just, you know, comes with you dealing with the problems and finding out the solution. You know, what I tell people is almost everything has a solution. I've had the days where it seems like literally every big problem is hitting me at once, to where there's no way that I can continue on with what I'm doing. I remember when I started, you know, with one of my drop shipping stores, it really started taking off. Within a week of it taking off, I had Shopify go ahead and place a hold or place a reserve on my funds. And so doing all the calculations, I was like, I don't know if there's any way I can actually scale this up and still be placing orders. So I created a second store, and it was doing great, and really started taking off. And then PayPal put a reserve on that store. And so it just seemed like everything was going wrong. Fortunately, what happened was I decided to go ahead, and this was right about the time I left the fire department. Essentially, the only money I was taking out of the business was literally just to pay bills. Everything else was essentially breaking even for the store, because with the reserves and the holds, I was having just enough to go ahead and place orders and still be scaling up the business. The great thing is, as soon as these reserves and holds got lifted, it was a huge back payment. You know, huge checks hit me all at once. And essentially, the student I had the consultation call with, he had the same thing happen. He had a little bit different of a method, but he said he had Shopify payments place a reserve on his account, and it really seemed like he wasn't going to be able to continue on. So what he did is he found another payment processor. The point was, he went ahead and found the solution. You need to go ahead and find the solution to the problem. Instead of essentially focusing on how bad of a day it is or how bogged down you feel, don't focus on the negative. Focus on the solution. Always be thinking for the solution. Like I said, almost every problem out there has a solution. Even if it's a temporary fix, almost putting a band-aid on the problem until you can get to the point of a more permanent fix. If you ever have these bogged down days, these days where you feel like everything is hitting you wrong, everything is going wrong from every direction, essentially go ahead and get through the day. You know, if you need to go ahead and go to bed, one thing at least works well for me is if, you know, I'm having one of these days where everything is going wrong, you know, and let's say it's late at night and it just seems like everything's wrong, I'll go to bed and I'll wake up and feel refreshed and ready to attack those problems. Sometimes you can't even go to bed. Sometimes you have to attack it right then. But just do what works well for you to go ahead and attack the problem, get through the problem, but know and expect that these issues are gonna arise. As an entrepreneur, you're always gonna have problems. It's the name of the game. We have higher stress loads than the average population, but we're also not average. We're not trying to live, you know, an average or mediocre life. Just know, guys, that your problems are gonna get bigger. You're always gonna have these bad days, these bogged down days, but you also will have higher highs. That's the thing about entrepreneurship is it is a roller coaster. You will have drastically low lows, but you'll have drastically high highs. Rather than being like the average population where, you know, their life is like this, we're like this. But you know, it all pays off in the end, guys. Just get through it. Repetition, you build up that mental fortitude, build up that calloused mind, and your problems what were once big to you will now seem small, and then you can get bigger and bigger and bigger problems. All right, guys, this is definitely needed talk. Definitely something that I've experienced, and you know, I've had the days where it just feels like I can't keep going any longer, and you know, I've heard from several of y'all that y'all have these days. So definitely know that you need to go ahead and get through that day, attack those problems, know there's a solution to the problem. You know, it might take work, it will take work to get through it, but you guys will get through it, and then you know, then when the next one comes, it'll be a little bit less of a problem. So if you guys could go ahead and leave me a like on this video, hit subscribe if you haven't already, turn on that notification bell so you never miss an upload, leave a comment below. If you're having any of these big problems come up and you've got any questions, hopefully I can help you guys get through that. Leave a comment down below, I'd love to help you guys out. Keep grinding, y'all, and I'll see you in the next video.